Nick, let me start with you. I feel like we had a similar conversation last year at the start of the season when there was a lot of this sort of in-house and off-field drama that was going on. We're back at it again. What do you make of what's happening in Pittsburgh?
Well, I would consider what's going on right now, what's gone on since the tail end of last season, more significant than what happened at the beginning of last year. We had L. Bell skip a practice or a walkthrough leading up to a playoff game that they then lost. We have L. Bell still not with the football team, something that was not an issue at all last year, as he reported before week 1. And now we have Antonio Brown seemingly no showing for practice. I know his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, said he had a personal reason for not being there. Mike Tomlin didn't give a full answer, but it didn't really seem to me like that was an excused absence. If it were, I think Mike Tomlin would have said that there rather than I look forward to addressing it with him. So these are real things that can't be ignored. And to me, what we are now looking at with the Steelers is, are they letting what could have been and what could still be an excellent era of Steeler football, the Ben, Bell, Brown era, slip away from them? Because I think most people believe that L. Bell is gone after this year. All of a sudden, Antonio Brown, I don't want to say he's on tenuous ground with the team, but he has not, over the last 72 hours, improved his standing with the team. And Big Ben, obviously, is much closer to the end now than a few years ago. And I think all four of their major components, the quarterback, the wide receiver, the running back, and, of course, the head coach, have to shoulder some of this blame. Now, a 4-game winning streak will, I don't want to say cure everything, but will make everyone feel a lot better about where this team is. But this is a team that I thought was the best team in the AFC last year until Ryan Shazier got hurt. I thought had the ability to be one of, if not the best team in the AFC this year. And on or off the field, they're yet to demonstrate that this season.
Yeah, as far as a circus atmosphere, I know Mike Tomlin, know him fairly well, know some of the other assistant coaches there, know a lot of the players that play there. And this is not foreign to me, especially being a wide receiver. There were a lot of times on Monday after the game, depending on how the team did, sometimes even when we did well, if people could get some type of shot, myself or Randy Moss. I remember one time on the Monday night game against the Giants, Randy scored 3 touchdowns in the first half. And I was very demonstrative after the 3rd touchdown with him on the sideline. And people was like, man, Cris Carter's jealous of Randy. It's a circus atmosphere there. Dennis Green has no control. But I was actually just telling Randy Moss, when you are at your best, this is who you are, and this is what you should be doing. Now, how I conveyed that to him, I told him that he was robbing sports fans. Every day he doesn't play his best or give the best effort, you're robbing sports fans. I was very demonstrative. I was in his face. People had no clue what I was saying. They thought I was getting on it because Randy, on the 3rd touchdown, he got called for unsportsmanlike conduct because he was so wide open that he backpedaled into the end zone the last 5 yards. But everyone came into the locker room. Denny Green don't have no control of this team. Cris Carter and Randy Moss, they're going at each other. But a lot of times, we, as fans, have no clue what people are talking about. We have no clue of what an NFL sideline is like on a Sunday. And when you're losing, because you're paid to win football games, there are a lot of people very, very upset. So I will not agree with the circus-type atmosphere. I will agree with Coach Mangini, and I have talked about a lot of time. They do have a different set of rules. Now, this set of rules allows them to at least win 8 games every year. So that's why you know it's not a circus. And Mike Tomlin has won double digits a whole bunch in his career. So I know what's going on in Pittsburgh. It's not the same locker room as everyone. Are they tight enough to be able to win a championship? Yes. In football, you can have situations like this. You got a lot of different people. You have a lot of different cliques. But it's easy because if you win, winning football cures a lot of different things. I think Mike Tomlin is still one of the best coaches that we have. And to think that he has a chaotic organization, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because if Tomlin didn't have the support of the Steelers, if he was somewhere else, man, they'd be trying to get rid of Tomlin. If he was in Tampa Bay or something, they'd be like, it's chaotic, the organization, let's get rid of him. But because of Pittsburgh and their overall stability, I believe that the L. Bell thing, that's not the coach. That's the general manager and the ownership. They decided not to sign him. What's Mike Tomlin supposed to do?
Well, that is the part of this that I feel like sports fans and commentators, absolutely leave out, which I understand the Steelers have a history, 50-plus years of being a well-run organization, and they have certain rules that they have always kept to. One of them is they do not include guaranteed money after 1 year for players that aren't quarterbacks. That's why AB's big deal he got only had $19 million guaranteed. That's why the offer to Bell, 4 years, $60 million, only had $15 million guaranteed. That's fine to be your philosophy. But with every choice anyone makes or any organization makes, there's potential consequences. And the Steelers' organizational choice to not want to be tied to Bell long term, which might be the right choice, there are still consequences to it. And the consequence this year is he ain't there. And I don't know if that would have helped them beat the Chiefs. I think it would have helped them beat the Browns. But that's the choice the organization made. Mike Tomlin, in that regard, has been dealt something of an unfair hand because he would love to have Bell there, and it ain't his money. Like, he's not dealing with the cap. Like, so that's something he has to deal with. That's none of his doing.
But are we blowing then the AB thing out of proportion? Is it not an issue at all?
AB not showing up for work.
AB not showing up for work. Maybe a tweet here and there. Earlier in the week, we heard about him threatening over social media a reporter who did some reporting on some things that he didn't want out there. But is that just all overblown? I mean, regular stuff that happens, but because he's the second or third face of this franchise, we're making a big deal about it?
I mean, I don't think it's going to a reporter writing some type of article that said things about him that were not flattering. No, I could see a player doing that. No, not worried. Guy not being there on Monday. There's a bunch of guys on in the NFL not there on Monday. Either coaches tell me they tell you it's an excused absence, or they just tell you it's a personal matter or something family. But in the NFL, guys on occasion do miss on Monday. But because it's Pittsburgh, are we going to add to it? Probably. What he said on the sideline, we don't have no clue what he was talking about.
Oh, I don't think people are that, maybe I missed it. I don't think people are that concerned with the sideline.
Well, that's why we keep showing it.
Oh, because we don't have video of him not being there.
Well, then it's our job to tell people.
Sure,
that.
Absolutely. That's totally fair. I think the reason this is a story today is because he wasn't there yesterday.
And because Mike Tomlin seemingly wasn't aware and said, well, I'll address this with him. It
didn't seem like it was an excused absence.
Right.
Listen, when Coach Mangini says, and as Chris alluded to, different families have different rules, the Jacksonville Jaguars had a star player in Jalen Ramsey tweet some vague threat to a reporter. Their response was, we'll see you in a week. You are suspended for 1 week of the preseason. The Steelers had AB a couple weeks ago tweet some not-so-vague threat or a vague – I don't want to call it a threat because nobody actually thinks they're going to take them up.
Everyone thinks they're threatened. Anytime you say anything to them, everyone's threatened. Oh, you're threatened.
But but AB did the same thing, type of thing Jalen did, and that was addressed internally rather than a suspension or rather than any type of outward punishment. That is just different organizational and coaching staff philosophies. But this is where I think Mike Tomlin has to have the benefit of the doubt. And for some reason, people in Pittsburgh don't give it to him. And nationally, they don't give it to him. He's got the third most wins of any coach ever through 11 seasons. No coach ever has more 10-win seasons through 11 seasons. He's never been below 500. Sure, he's not Belichick. But other than Bill Belichick, his resume matches up to any other coach in the league. And that couldn't happen if he doesn't have a level of control in the locker room, even if it's a different type of control than other coaches would have themselves.
So then I asked this earlier, I'll ask it again. I guess we are sort of overblowing this because this is how the team functions and they know how to deal with it and they somehow manage to win games despite whatever you want to call it, noise, distractions on the field, off the field. It doesn't seem to be a big deal to them. Should we even be making this a big deal?
We should be reporting on it. We should be talking about it. It's an individual thing as far as what big of a deal you're going to make. I know Mike Tomlin is a coach. I know what they do as an organization. To me, that's enough. Do I know the players? Yeah, I know Pouncey. Yeah, I know AB. Yeah, I know the players. I know the coaches involved. So, no, I'm not concerned because also I've been in the NFL locker room and I know anonymous sources. I don't know how you win all those 10 games in a circus atmosphere. No one else is doing it. Tell me somewhere else there's a circus atmosphere and they can win 10 games. Oh, it'll let you know there's no circus atmosphere.
Right. All right. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.